Do you know that it commands us 28 times in the Bible to love? Let's get into that. In Mark 12:30, it tells us to love the Lord. And then it also tells us to love your neighbor. In John 13:34, Jesus gives us a new command, to love one another. And in Matthew 5:44, in the Beatitudes, Jesus tells us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. So if we're supposed to love all of these people, then how do we define love? Because love isn't a feeling. It's not something where you just feel butterflies in your stomach and then you go give somebody roses. It's not where you allow somebody to do whatever they want because you love them. Love sometimes can be difficult. Sometimes it can be pleasant. Sometimes it can be wonderful. But overall, the best description I've ever heard it is that it's doing something for somebody else's best interest. What does that mean? The best way that I relate to this is by being a parent. I love my kids. I really, really love my kids. Sometimes loving them is hard because sometimes they want to eat a whole bunch of candy, they want to stay up late, and they don't want to do their schoolwork. But none of those things are good for them. So I have to help them understand that they need to do what's good for them. So what happens if they go ahead and follow through with the bad behavior that they were wanting to do that wasn't really healthy for them? I have to let consequences play out, and I also have to discipline them if they disobeyed me or broke a rule. Just like God did with the Israelites many, many times. As parents, this is kind of a hard topic to discuss because disciplining your kids isn't really fun. But if you don't discipline them, do you really love them? This doesn't just apply for kids. This applies for anybody that you love. Discipline and correction are required for us as human beings to grow and to know other people's boundaries and to know what's right and to know what's wrong and how to put those things into action. And if we can't correct our own behavior, sometimes we have to have an external source help us correct that behavior, whether it be just by the consequences alone. Those can be catastrophic enough, but sometimes it has to be to the extreme of another person stepping in and showing us that they care and they love us enough to help us correct our behavior. And that's okay. You can love someone and not validate or allow the hurtful or harmful behavior to you or to other people or to themselves. Sometimes it's really hard to learn how to do those things. Sometimes it's really hard to learn how to effectively and gracefully confront somebody, especially if they're your peer, about something that they're doing that isn't necessarily biblically correct. Matthew 18:15, Jesus goes over some of those steps, and then Paul does again in Galatians 6:1. And they help to cover how to confront somebody gently. If this was helpful or beneficial to you in any way, please follow, comment, like, and share. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.